Hello and welcome to Different Perspectives. I'm Paul Ndiho. Today we are going live to talk about one of the fastest growing threats across Africa's digital landscape, cybercrime. From sextortion to romance scams, these crimes are leaving thousands of victims financially and emotionally devastated. Joining me live is Jimmy Kinyoni Bagonza, a data scientist, a cybersecurity analyst, and a PhD candidate in information technology. We will unpack how some of these crimes work, why so many people fall for them, and what solutions can help protect the vulnerable. Stay tuned. This is a live event coming to you right now. Hello. Hello, Jimmy. Welcome
Hello,
to Different Perspectives.
hello, Paul. I'm glad to be here and share insights on this exciting topic of cybersecurity. Yeah. Thank you, and I'm glad to be here. Yeah.
So, since you're the expert, let's start off by you maybe giving us a basic analysis of what this means. Why is cybercrime so rampant on the African continent?
Well, Dio, thanks very much once again. Looking at Africa as a continent, uh, there is a lot of digital transformation, digital explosion across sectors, starting from mobile money platforms like M-Pesa in the East African region. We have, I think, MTN mobile money in Uganda, and I think there's another mobile money platform I think in Ghana, West African region. So with this, also coupled with the cloud adoption by most organizations to leverage the cloud technology as far as storage and computing is concerned because of the cost related implications. With this innovation, we have seen this serious explosion of digital transformation. But at the same time, this comes also at an expense, in a sense that it increases uh, the attack surface for cyber criminals. Whereas digital explosion is good, but at the same time it expands and increases the surface under which cyber criminals can they can leverage and cause havoc and harm. Just like that article that was shared by BBC about the sextortion.
Sextortion and
Yes,
romance scams.
yes. So you saw the kind of arrests that were carried out not in one single location but across different locations within Africa, from Southern Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa to Western Africa, Northern Africa, and other Central Africa. This tells you that these are kind of coordinated transnational operations that are coordinated by these guys, and they're leveraging the human element of their victims through what called social engineering.
According to Interpol, nearly 260 people were arrested across different African countries. That's a remarkable achievement on their part for them to be able to pull off something like that.
Yes, it is indeed a remarkable achievement. But for me, from my own perspective as a cyber criminal, I you waiting to have someone arrested because of committing a crime, that isn't a success to me. In the first place, you have to stop it before it
That's
takes
right.
place, and that is how I would measure somebody's success as far as fighting cybercrime is concerned. And this one how it comes in. Whereas there is this explosion that I've just talked about in Africa across the continent, we see the level at which policies that would help in curbing cybercrime and as well as laws, the level at which the rate at which they're being enacted or put in place is very low. So they're not matching up with the explosion of technology, and that is something that is really challenging. And this is something that the governments and the concerned parties need to look at and put into consideration. Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point. So let me maybe follow up with this. What makes us extortion and these romance scams so effective in Africa? Is it because more young people have access to the internet and social media, uh, or or is it because the world is full of people who are looking for fantasies and all sorts of things online?
Well, I think, in my opinion, I would say, looking at Africa as a continent, we have quite a number of challenges, and one of them is being look at the poverty levels, unemployment rates. So these are some of the challenges that most of the youth are facing. Not necessarily the youth, even some people in the mid ages of their life. So the cyber criminals are exploiting that weakness, if I may put it as a weakness, where people are in need of something. And how do they do that? One of the things is through social engineering. Just like before we went live, you are sharing how you started chatting with someone on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's a great example. Yes,
Yes,
I
and
I
someone
was.
the first attempt is to initiate a contact. Once you initiate contact, the second thing is to create rapport and trust. So when you create trust, someone now starts up opening up and telling you everything about themselves, even sharing most of the details. Some like sextortion, you're into kind of a romance kind of relationship. You start exchanging photos, nude photos. At the end of the day, the person now turns and uses this against you. If you don't do this, I'm going to expose this to the internet.
So,
So
for the record, at least for my part, I wasn't engaged in sextortion.
sure, sure,
So
sure.
I was not engaged in sextortion or these romance scams. I
Yes.
was I use
Mm,
LinkedIn for professional
mm,
reasons and professional services only. And I was this guy approached me trying to. He asked me a question. I responded. He's like, "Oh, I like your content." Then we kept talking back and forth. He complimented me here. I complimented him as well. Then before I knew it, my page was taken over. He literally took over my page, started posting stuff, and LinkedIn called me and they're like, "No, we cannot accept this. This is unacceptable behavior on our platform." So I tried to work it around, talk to their lawyers, talk to everybody involved. They said, unfortunately, the way this guy did it, he did it in such a way that uh, they could not recover. They just deleted my account. They could not
oh,
recover it because it had caused so much damage to
that
their
was so
platform.
unfortunate indeed.
Yeah.
That was so unfortunate.
So,
So
so how do I protect it for a person like me, who quote unquote is tech savvy? How do I, if I can be hacked and my reputation put on the line, how can somebody who has absolutely no knowledge of how these things work help themselves, or how can they protect themselves from these bad actors on the internet?
I think looking at how the whole uh, criminal network operates in Africa, and looking at our different challenges as Africa as a continent, we may not necessarily say that these are because we have that uh, our tax tech savviness is at a minimum, although, but these are guys who are thriving on trust. Trust. So the trust and emotions of these young men and women, and it's basing on that now that they're able, because even someone who is tech savvy can be can be challenged by these guys and take their account taken over, even fall victims. So they are relying on that, the emotional bit of it and the trust, not necessarily looking at the technical flaws that this person may be having or something. But just like you asked, how can they to protect themselves from this? From my perspective, the idea to protect yourself from such is uh, individuals as well as governments that should come up with a serious campaign on training and awareness, because some of these things, some of the social engineering schemes come through in the form of someone sending you a link, for example. And this has been common. I think I've seen that in Uganda. I belong to quite a number of WhatsApp groups, and you see somebody posting a message saying, if you click this link, you're going to win. They're going to reward you with 50,000 Uganda shillings. But you ask yourself, for what reason? So, just like I was saying, because of how vulnerable we are, because of the poverty and other things, someone needs money, will end up clicking on that link. And once you click on that link, maybe the link has a payload or something and installs on your machine. And as it installs on your machine, it ends up taking and clearing all the data that it wants, and then starts now shiving which one can I use and which one cannot use. So it is an awareness campaign by not only governments but also social society organizations as well as financial institutions. And then also the other one is the policy frameworks, coming up with policies and regulations that are in tandem with the level at which technology is developing and growing. And of course, with adoption of AI, now these are things that can be even monitored. So if governments and institutions or banks at large are able to have AI models or AI systems that can be able to mine and analyze all this kind of information and data, these kind of schemes can be identified even before they happen, depending on the behavioral changes or the techniques how they do it. So the machine learning models are able to learn how these things are done, and over time they perfect it, so that when it is detected, it can easily flag it and maybe block the other person from continuing to do what he's supposed to do, and so on.
Earlier, you talked about something that I found fascinating, in a sense that you said arresting people after the fact shouldn't be a big deal. But what should be a big deal is deterrence, right?
Yes.
Making sure that doesn't happen. Can you expound on that a little bit for our audience?
uh, on deterrence.
Yes.
Yes, when talk about deterrence, we are putting place measures that can prevent something. So being preventive other than being reactive. One of them, just so let's just talked about policies. For example, if you have, for example, a password policy saying that every after 2 weeks, and in an organization you have to change your password. Have policies like do not bring your own device at work if it's a company organization. May have policies to do with uh, policy to do with how data is shared within an organization and who has access to it. So these are some of the things that are put in place to prevent something from happening.
Interesting. How about the fact that, for example, do you think that Africa's rapid adoption of social media and these digital platforms is fueling cybercrime?
Yes, I would say so. Just like I mentioned in my introduction, as the growth of all the explosion in the digital transformation, that explosion, the attack surface for the cyber criminals is increased. And when it increases, we have limited policies, laws, and regulations, or even not enough manpower personnel that are trained to effectively protect these systems. So that's one way to look at it. But on the other hand, how can we better use this, make this, or put this into good use, given
Mhm.
that we have these bad guys who want to take advantage of it, and that's why we have the deterrence measures. So if we can't now deter them, then how are we ready, prepared to respond in case of an event? And that's why now the aspect of incident response comes in. Do we have the incident response plans in place? How systems being monitoring of systems to detect, and once they detected, what are the necessary steps that are to be taken to eradicate it? So
I don't know if you heard about this. About maybe about a month ago, there was this quote unquote a trading platform online where a lot of Africans became victims of these unscrupulous bad actors on the internet. People had invested so much money, people lost so much money. They were investing in something they thought was legit, trading in crypto online, and people were putting a lot of money. There were people who had in the tens of thousands of dollars. Others had a couple hundred dollars in the system. One day, this guy who was running it wakes up and tells everybody that, oh, we got uh, we got hacked, blah blah blah. We can no longer do this. I want everybody to pay $400 who is on the platform for them to be able to continue. And but for those who did not pay the money, they were immediately cut off. So people lost a ton of money. How do we as individuals prevent ourselves from scams like that? Because a lot of people initially it seemed good. People are investing a lot of money, but this guy one day just woke up and shut down the whole thing. If you dared to challenge him or to raise some questions, they automatically canceled your account.
yes, those are more of like Ponzi schemes, if I may
Yes.
say. And as a matter of fact, I handled one of the most sophisticated cases back then when I was still working with the police force in Uganda, where I think the victims, the total amount was amounting, I think, to around 3.4 billion from victims across the country.
Mhm.
So I think one of the ways to identify this is, it's, I think it's common. I would say it is, well, this may be common sense to most people, but the question is, someone is telling me to invest $400, and after a week I'm going to get 800. The question is, how is this money going to make more 400? Ask that curiosity. You should have that curiosity as a person. How
But
is this
in this case, this guy made it in such a way that if you invested $400, it automatically starts growing within like 2 weeks. You have $800. So people were adding more money as they invested, and they saw those profits. They kept on adding money, money, money until they couldn't even withdraw a dollar.
and that's how lucrative it is, because it still goes back to that point I made of building the trust. The first round, I'll pay you the money. The second round, I pay you the money. The third round, I pay you the money. Then how you like, oh, I have my friend Deo. Oh, Paul, I made an investment in this company, and these are the returns. You look at it. I have everything on my online. I can see the flow of money coming in my account.
Mm.
So once I tell Deo, Paul will say like, Jim is doing this. I also come and enroll and do the same and do the same and do the same and do the same thing.
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah. So once this person has met his target, and then closes off the platform, and what they do after that, they change the name. They come in a different form.
Yes.
If today I came as XYZ trading company, tomorrow I will come as MXL trading company and do
Right.
the same thing with a different product, but the modus operandi is the same. And that thing is, I think it's also common. Uh, I will speak on behalf of Uganda. Yes, it's common in Uganda, and I've had cases back then when I was in the service that we investigated a number of cases.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, how does a government, like let's say, where its citizens are victims, what can the government, what's the role of the government there? Can the role, can the government get involved, or it's up to individuals to figure out how to resolve this? Because first of all, they were trading as individuals, not as a government. So, does the government have a role to play in this? Or internet providers, can they play a role in this to make sure that they can track in the event something like this happens, they can track and know who did what and when?
Yes, from the policy point of view, the government has to come up with policies that can regulate this kind of entities. And also, when it comes to registration, because most of these entities find that they are fully registered, they're fully registered. But what are the guiding principles? Under what laws and what framework are they operating? So,
Mhm,
in case they have been accepted to operate, are they being audited, for example, by if they're dealing in finance? What other is it? The central bank that keeps has to keep check on them when it comes to finances or any other entity that is mandated.
mhm,
So, if those checks that are being made, or are there reporting mechanisms periodically to report on their progress? So if that also fails, when it comes now to an event, an incident has happened, when the police comes in, how is the police well prepared to respond to it? Given that most of these are transnational,
mhm,
most of these companies find that they're either South African based and Uganda based, and then Kenya. So you find that the person who initiated or started this company is in South Africa, and then they have what they call, I think, ambassadors in Uganda, ambassadors in Kenya, and so on. So the question: how can you now track down? You find even the money that is taken or lost. This person in Uganda has taken out of 100%. He has only taken, like, let's say 50, but the other 50% has gone to down the network to
mhm,
someone who started it, who is at the top. So
mhm.
the question: how can you trace down? And that also calls in now uh, interagency coordination and cooperation
Yes.
among among nations.
Interesting. Do you think now with earlier you alluded to AI, artificial intelligence, how everything now is driven or done by AI? We are in this age or era of where people are looking at AI for solutions. Is there a tool that you've come across that can sort of like stop this before it happens, or having AI in the mix even make things worse?
Yes, there are AI powered behavioral analytics tools on the market of open source, but there are those that can be customized too. The beauty with AI is you train the model to do what you want to do. And looking at Africa and looking at the cases that have are being reported or that have been occurring, I believe and think that all this is a lot of data that can be used to train AI models to track and trace these perpetrators. Yeah.
How about for like let's say for people who spend a lot of time on social media, let's say going back to the scams that we're talking about, why is it easy for somebody to fall for a scam like that? You would think that people have a basic understanding of how the internet works. Why is it so easy?
Uh, I think for having the basic understanding of how the internet works vis-a-vis what you, the person or the individual, really want, or something that you think of, or something that you look at as for validation, for example. That is where the thing now I talked about the emotional bit of it, the emotion. Not that you're having challenges with technology. Yes, technology, you understand it, but the emotion bit of it, the trust that comes in. You will be online all the time, for example, and then you see an ad coming up. There are these games that keep popping up on the screen, you maybe on the phone, or maybe you're playing music. They say if you play this game, then you're going to reward you this amount of money, and you're like, oh, I haven't paid my rent. Why not I try this? So boom, and you just click on it, a click, and once you click on it, it will take you to some other site.
Right, right.
Maybe you've landed on a genuine ad that will take you to a genuine link, a website, but sometimes you also click on a wrong ad that will take you to a wrong page where it's going to harvest your information.
Mm.
So that's how I would explain it. Yeah.
A couple days ago, I've been in the job search market for a while, and sometimes you apply for jobs online. And what I've found interesting is that yes, you apply for jobs online, you think you're dealing with like a legitimate site, but once you send that email, once you put in that information, then you have all sorts of things popping up in your inbox, and you're like, where are these things coming from? You know, so it looks like even some of these quote unquote legit sites are not legit anymore. People have figured out how to make copies of those legit sites and put them out there to mimic the legit sites. So how can an ordinary person like me, who is not privileged to be a cybersecurity expert, uh, how can I protect myself?
It's very interesting the way you've brought that example up. I was a victim of exactly what you've explained. I think it was in around April. I received a message in my inbox that there's this and this opening, they need to do interviews, and they rushed me through the process.
Mm,
But I was curious. It's like, okay, I'm not going to give you all the information. They wanted me to connect on this a communication cell called Ring Central, where I had to connect with them. We chatted, chatting, exchanging documents. But I realized my success came. I'm like, no, there's something wrong here. But to feed my curiosity, I went ahead and fed them wrong information. So behind the veils, I went back and looked at the company they are talking about. I searched the emails, the format, the domain, the
mm,
URL main.
mm,
I looked at got the there's online there's a tool that you can use. In fact, this is something that's very helpful, could be helpful to many people.
mhm,
When you receive an email purporting, for example, to be from diomedia.com,
mm,
so you can go to that tool and input the names of those people, and it will give you the corresponding email for those people working there, and
mm,
you're able to contact them.
mm.
So that's how I used that tool online.
What's the name of that tool? Maybe it could help some people who
uh,
might
I
experience
think
this.
I will try to remember it and then share
Or
it.
share it with me after the
Yes, after the show.
yes, so I can post it for some people to use it.
So once you it's I look up, I think some, I'm not, I'll remember to share it with you. So once you put it in, I was able to contact the HR. The HR was like, no, no, don't respond, that is a scam.
Mm-hmm,
And then they connected me to their IT team, and we exchanged all the emails.
mm,
They did a forensic analysis looking at the email header, how the email is structured. So to back to your question, one of the things to look at is how fast do these people process your information when it comes, for example, job search scams.
mm-hmm.
You'll find that within one day they'll give you an offer.
That's true.
Yeah.
I've been a victim many times.
Yeah.
Yes, where I
And
get
then they give you an
offers
offer.
and
They tell you this job is going to be remote. So you have to pick up maybe your laptop from an Amazon pickup location somewhere, but you need to
right.
make some payment.
Mm,
Those are some of the red flags that you look up for. The speed at which they give you an offer. Things to do like you have to pick up the equipment to use. The company will reimburse.
mm,
You get it? So those are some of the red flags. Then the other thing is also looking at the URL. There is a way you look at the characters that are being typed. For example, I
mhm,
can give an example of, let's say, a URL, maybe
mm,
media.com,
mhm,
which is let's say MA, starting with
mhm,
MADIE
mm, mm,
dot com. So what these guys would do, they will leave the other character the same, MEDI. Instead of writing E, they make it a 3
mhm,
and they say .com. So from you when you look at it, you'll see like the 3 will see that this is an E,
mhm,
and you go ahead and do whatever you're doing. So that's how these guys. So you look at, they copy, they go and clone the other website and come and make an exact true copy of it here, but using a wrong, uh, URL.
mhm,
The same applies to this what called business email compromise
mhm,
attacks. You will receive an email purporting to be from the CEO approving payment
right.
of something. And true, you'll see the name is correct. You look at media.com, say this is media. Yeah, this is. But when you go back to internalize and look at the characters used very well, that's when now you thought, oh,
This is scam.
this is scam. Yes.
I don't know where I don't know where we're heading, but certainly somebody has to do something. Now, from your perspective as a security analyst, cybersecurity analyst, what are the biggest challenges law enforcement faces in tackling some of these scammers across borders, even here in the United States?
I think one of the biggest challenge I would say is the rate at which technology is exploding. It's so terrible that all the law enforcement agents cannot match up the speed to equip themselves with the necessary tools to. So the
Mhm,
rapid growth of it all, and also now the emergence of AI, artificial intelligence. Whereas artificial intelligence is good, but also there are other people using it in a wrong way.
the bad actors.
Yeah, the bad actors creating a deep fakes, for example. There was a site called, I think, was it called Only Fakes?
Mhm,
It was pulled down. Only Fakes. You'll just go to that site and get any fake document
mhm,
you want
mhm,
online. You just go there, make payment. Say, I need this. I need a bank statement. I need a letter of this. You will have it. I need an ID. You will have it. But how are this being done? IT. I mean, AI.
mhm,
So the AI are also coming in, but because in how is it also being regulated? It goes back to regulation and
mhm,
policy. Yes, in place. And then of course goes into training, training of the persons who are tasked to fight cyber crime. Yeah.
Jimmy, this is not the first time that we've seen these kinds of arrests. These things happen almost every other day. It's just that maybe it doesn't make the news. Now, given the scale of these arrests, do you think this Interpol-led crackdown will have a lasting impact, or the criminals will adopt another trick?
I think given the reward of cybercrime, it's not going to stop.
Mm,
the rewards are so immense, and with little effort needed for you to do that. And that's always, I think, another motivating factor that
Mhm.
motivates these guys to do it. Just sitting on your computer, come up with a deep fake, you create a profile picture of someone, you post it there, and you start soliciting money from them. The other
So,
day, I'm in a WhatsApp group here, and someone was calling that we have a Zoom meeting. Then I'm like, which Zoom meeting? And we're like, okay, I'm sending you a code. That code is what you're going to use to access. So you read back for me that code.
mhm,
But this is someone who had already gotten access to another person's account, and he's within the group, has taken over the group as an administrator.
mhm,
Now he wants to take over your account. And by once you read that, so how they do it, such an instant is they try to create another WhatsApp account
mhm,
using your phone number.
mhm.
So once, and in the process of creating WhatsApp account, there's a code that they will send to you on your phone number to
Right.
input so that is created. So once you read that number to that person who's calling, your WhatsApp account goes off and you can't access it. And the next thing they will do, they start texting Dale. Oh, this is Jimmy. I'm here downtown DC. Man, I've lost my wallet. Please, could you send me like a $50? And you see, so the rewards are, and you don't need a lot of efforts to do it. So that is another thing that I could
Mm.
think of to say. Yeah, wealth is it's what I'd say is this. What the Interpol did is something that is very very good, and I would say or call upon more agencies to come together in the fight of this vice, because it is not within a border, it is across borders. So
Yeah.
having a collaborative mindset is something that is very 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 important.
Now, for a person like you who is a tech savvy, you are into this space. Uh, People would argue this kind of stuff doesn't surprise you, but for ordinary people, this is huge, right? So, what kind of advice would you give to somebody in Nigeria, somebody in Uganda, somebody in wherever who has become a victim of either fraudulent activities online, sextortion, these romance schemes? What kind of advice would you give
uh, uh, Kind of advice I would give them is to always second guess anything that comes your way. Anything that is digital, whether it is an email that has come to you. For me, this is how I always do things. An email,
them?
when I receive an email from someone I don't know, one thing I look at is I go to the email header, I expand it, and then look at the email header itself. Because
Mhm,
sometimes it will display a name,
mhm.
Jimmy Bagonza, but behind it, it's a different thing. It's a different email taking you to somewhere or from somewhere different.
Right. But,
So
but now this is you as an expert. These are things that you're trained to look
yes,
at, right? Now, for an ordinary person, you see an email, it's an email. You don't think much of it, right?
and this is something they can do. That's what I'm. So this is something that they should adopt or try to do to have that success. When you receive an email, before you open it or before you do anything, take an action. First, look at the email header. Where is it coming from? Do I know this person? If it is the person is purporting from BBC, what is the URL for BBC? There are tools that you can use to check. Even now, have ChatGPT just put this URL. Does it correspond to BBC email format? And it will tell you.
Mhm.
Then the next thing, when it comes to the links that are within the email, so most links that, not all, but most of them, you'll find that they have their URL starting with HTTP
Mhm.
and then HTTP, the forward slash, then www.gmail.com. And
Right.
there are those, the legitimate one always have HTTPS.
Mhm.
Those are the ones that are more secure. So when you receive an email and
Mhm.
there's a link that you need to click, or that they need to click on this link, for example, to do something. So what you do is just you move your mouse to that link without even clicking. Once you place it on the link, it will display the entire URL in its entirety, and you're able to read it from beginning to end. So when you read from the beginning, is it an HTTP and then with the domain name, or is it HTTPS?
Mhm.
So that's how most times when I see it is HTTP, I immediately delete.
Okay. So what's the difference between HTTP and HTTPS?
HTTPS is more secure. It's a
Uh-huh.
secure channel of communication. I like the HTTP. HTTP was what was is back then with the socket layer security. So HTTPS was improved. HTTP they improved it by including the secure socket layer bit of it, and it became now HTTPS.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
I just
Whereas
learned
of
something new. Yeah.
yes. So whereas not all the HTTPS domain names are legit, but at least you know you have that coffee level of confidence that yeah, at least this is must be someone from a legitimate entity. But when I see HTTP, I immediately delete. I even don't read.
Right.
So there are some of the things that you can always look at. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I know you have to run. You're a busy guy. You have so much on your plate. Any final thoughts?
Yeah. Well, what can I say? All I may say is cybersecurity is well and alive and is going nowhere. And with the evolution of AI, cloud adoption, you no longer now need to have a server in your company data center. You just have to connect to Amazon, Google, and everything is streaming online. So all these are avenues for cybercrime to thrive, but at the same time, also to spur development and economic transformation in within the world. So the question is, how are you as an individual positioning yourself to benefit from this digital transformation, while knowing that there is downside of it of cyber criminals? One is self-awareness.
Mhm.
There are free online platforms where you can go and learn and teach yourself. There are sites where they always give updates online. Just go online and updates of current trends in cybercrime, current trends in, for example, financial crime. You'll get them. So that self-awareness, regardless of whether you are tech savvy or not, that's how we keep up to date with
Uh,
the evolution of technology.
Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff. Well, on that note, it's been a pleasure talking to you, Jimmy. Thank you so much for your time. And I look forward to maybe seeing you very soon. I know you have some big events are coming up. All the best,
Yeah,
my friend.
thank you for
Yeah,
appreciate and
I
pleasure.
wish you all the best. Let me know if I can help in any way. And let's
Sure,
continue
sure,
this
sure.
conversation.
Thank you.
Very nice,
Appreciate.
very nice.
Bye.
Jimmy Bagonza is a data scientist, a cybersecurity analyst, and a PhD candidate in information technology. That's it for this live event. Thank you so much for watching. We look forward to seeing you soon. Take care and bye for now.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, don't go. Don't